If you maintain a Western mentality, you're gonna be depressed, you're gonna be heartbroken, you're gonna be broke, you're gonna be confused, you're gonna be tired, frustrated, all of these things. Because Ghana is not the West. My mistake was thinking that traveling here a few times, being Ghanaian, being exposed to life here was, at least the trips that I had was enough, but it wasn't. So I've been living in Ghana for almost 8 months, and here are some of the mistakes I've made. I guess you could say they're more like lessons. It depends on how you want to look at it. It's a combination of mistakes that have led to lessons because that's how I'm choosing to view them. I would say the first mistake I made was thinking that coming to Ghana on holiday was enough for me to make the decision to move. And what I mean by that is I came to Ghana a bunch of different times. I stayed for a maximum 5 weeks. And I thought because, okay, I stayed here for an extended period of time. I came at different times of the year. I thought that that was enough for me to know what it was like to be in Ghana. And the mistake that I made was not moving gradually. If you really want to relocate to Ghana, come more gradually. Do 3 months, see how you feel. Maybe do 6 months, see how you feel. Do a year, and then see how you feel. What I did was move to Ghana in a way where I literally got rid of my apartment, sold a lot of my belongings, got rid of my belongings, and pretty much left my life in Canada, knowing that I wasn't necessarily planning to be in Ghana permanently forever. But in hindsight, I wish I would have maybe done things a bit more gradually instead of just moving completely. But I will say, had I done that and had I had the intention of moving back to Canada, I don't think I would have been here as long as I have been. So in some ways, being in Ghana for longer makes you adjust because you made that decision. You're not going back anytime soon. So in some ways, you are trying to make it work. And I think there's a difference between being uncomfortable and you can't handle it, or just a natural adjustment to a different culture, a different lifestyle. So there's pros and cons to it. But what I will say, I think if you're going to make the move, maybe try things out a little bit more gradually, even spending 2 months in Ghana during like an off season to see how you feel about things. The next one is a big one. I really wasn't prepared for how expensive Accra is. That is something that I'm still in shock by. You know, you think because you have foreign money that you could live, I thought I would be saving money, honestly, in Ghana. I thought I would be saving money, but I'm actually spending more in some areas, in a lot of areas, than I did when I was back in Toronto. So my mistake here was thinking that Accra was more affordable than it actually is. And to cut myself some slack is like the prices in Accra have shifted significantly over the last few years. Even from 1 month to the next month, the prices will be different. So in some ways, it's really hard to predict what you'll be spending money on because the prices fluctuate so much. But I just thought that having foreign money, I thought housing in some ways is cheaper, but not really because it depends on where you want to live, what sort of accommodations you're comfortable with, what you need. And I just thought that I actually thought I would save money living in Ghana in some ways, but I'm not at all. And I didn't expect food to be as expensive as it is. I didn't expect transportation to be expensive as it is. Just honestly, a lot of basic things, like even just having to pay for water. I grew up in a country where you don't pay for water. Water is free. You can even drink tap water. And now just constantly having to buy water even to drink, it's a new thing. And even buying water because Ghana water doesn't flow. So all of these things that I didn't have to consider before are now things that I have to pay for and regularly. Another thing is that a lot of prices in Accra just don't make sense to me. The prices of some goods and services are really expensive. And even when you're earning foreign currency, it's still a lot of money. So just not being prepared financially, I would say, is a mistake. Absolutely. Because in some ways it's hard to predict, but I would say whatever you think you need to make the move to Ghana, multiply it by 4. And I'm not even exaggerating because you would be surprised how quickly expenses and things add up. I was speaking to one of my friends who was born and raised in Ghana, and she was saying that she looked at her receipts for Bolt and Uber from 2025, and it was enough for her to have purchased a car. So think about that. If transportation is that much, and she does a combination of Tra and Uber, what I'm trying to say is like it's very expensive to move around in Accra, like extremely expensive. And I just wasn't prepared for that. And as I've been here more, I see how quickly prices change, even in the same week. And because there's no regulation, people can price goods and services however they want. And yeah, you just gotta pay. So I would say not being prepared financially and not knowing the real cost of living in Ghana. And I know people are gonna say, oh, it depends on your lifestyle, it depends on your lifestyle. Yes, okay, yes. So as someone who is foreign, born and raised in Canada, based off of my lifestyle, if you come in wanting a different lifestyle, to be honest, I still think it's expensive, even for people who live more of a local lifestyle. I know people who are born and raised in Ghana and are used to the system here, and they also find it very expensive. So I think no matter where you fall, Accra is just very expensive. So be very prepared for that. Mistake I made, which does relate to costs and access, is not shipping enough food. I shipped so many random items. I shipped so many clothes that I didn't need and don't wear. And I shipped all of these things that I really don't need, but I didn't ship enough food. And I thought that because I cook food, like I cook, it would be easy for me because I could just buy ingredients. No. First of all, it's hard to access certain things in Ghana. And I mean access in terms of like them not being available. And then secondly, just the cost of them. It's outrageous. And local foods, like if you want to buy stuff to make different soups or stews or things like that, they're more affordable. But if there is anything foreign that you want, expect to pay 4 times the amount you would have paid back home. And I'm not even exaggerating when I say 4 times the amount. If it's not part of the main diet here, just expect to pay a significant amount if you can find it at all. So that's the other thing. You might not even be able to find it. I remember seeing ketchup for 140 cities. Ketchup that you would buy for like $3 is equivalent to $17 Canadian. And when I was moving, I did ask people like, what should I ship? What should I ship? And they kept saying like, ship everything. And I'm like, what do you mean ship everything? And now that I'm here, yes, ship it all. Your favorite cereal. I shipped 2 boxes of cereal and I finished that within a week because first of all, I just missed having food from back home. And 2 boxes, that's nothing. If you're moving there, you're gonna need to ship a lot of food. Even something as simple as canned foods. You can get canned foods at like No Frills for $1. But here, canned foods will be like 50 cities, 70 cities, which is equal to like $8 up to $10 for a canned vegetables. So that was a huge mistake, not shipping enough food, not shipping the food I like. Something like coconut milk. Oh my gosh, I really wish I shipped coconut milk because the coconut milk I've tried that's available in Ghana, I just don't like it at all. And yeah, that's what they have. So it's both access to the actual goods and then access in terms of costs because it could be really, really expensive. Okay, the next thing is not having a car and relying on Uber. Whew, when I tell you transportation in Accra is expensive, I spend, I believe, 3 times the amount on transportation in Accra than I did in Toronto. It is wild the amount of money you spend on transportation here. And there is an alternative with Tra, but as someone who is new to the city, I don't know how to use Tra, and I'm not that comfortable using Tra if I'm being honest, for long distances. If it's short distances, okay, fine. I do have the privilege of taking Ubers, but it's the costs are a lot. Accra is a city where you need a car. Getting around with the public transportation is not ideal. And then taking Ubers is really not ideal either. It's super expensive. It really adds up. Not having your own reliable transportation in Accra is a headache. It's not like you can just hop on the subway or hop on the bus to get to wherever you need to go. You need to call a ride. If they show up, if they want to go, they might not want to take you where you need to go. So not having a car it kind of restricts you in some ways just to be able to move around. Overall, not having a car is a big headache over here. I think I'm going to do this in 2 parts because I have a lot more to say and this video is going to be really, really long. But the last thing I will say is maintaining a Western mentality. what you know or what you think you know, throw it out the window, because the way Ghana does its own thing. In some ways, a lot of things are upside down. So whatever mentality you hold from wherever you're from, let it go. The sooner you let it go, I would say things are not seamless at all. So I can't say it will be more seamless, but I think you'll be less stressed. If you maintain a Western mentality, you're gonna be depressed, you're gonna be heartbroken, you're gonna be broke, you're gonna be confused, you're gonna be tired, frustrated, all of these things. Because Ghana is not the West. Even though Accra likes to make herself seem like she's the New York of Africa, I'm sorry, it's not like that. I think as someone who, I'm Ghanaian, I've been to Ghana multiple times. I thought that it would not easy, but I didn't expect it to be this challenging. As much as I'm Ghanaian, I think I'm Ghanaian by blood. I'm Ghanaian, by heritage, but culturally I am very Canadian. I've never felt more Canadian in my life than being in Ghana. So having a Western mentality and keeping a Western mentality in an African country is not going to serve you. I think there's things that you can borrow from your experiences in the West, but overall, you're really going to have to open your mind, be more flexible, adopt certain things, even if you don't necessarily agree with them. Because there's a lot of things in Ghana that don't make sense to me, that I don't agree with, but I will never win this back and forth. Ghana will always win. If I want to be in Ghana, there are certain things that I just have to deal with. I just have to accept. And it's taken me 8 months to finally get to this point, and I wouldn't want it to take you this long. So I'm telling you now that there are certain things that may be posted online or that you see that make living life here seem easy. And maybe it is for those people, but I would say for the most part, it's not. And it's going to require a lot of grit, a lot of resilience, a lot of open-mindedness, a lot of flexibility, and really changing your mindset. Because there's a system, there's a way things operate here that's going to be different from what you're used to. And in order to have some sense of peace, you really have to adjust. My mistake was thinking that traveling here a few times, being Ghanaian, being exposed to life here was, at least the trips that I had, was enough, but it wasn't. So this is part one of the mistakes I made while moving to Ghana. And I hope it's helpful for whoever is thinking about making the move, or if you already had and you think you can relate to what I'm saying or anything. If something resonated with you, let me know. And overall, I would say that while sometimes these do feel like mistakes, I have learned so much about myself. I have learned so much about life, about people, about systems, about the world from making this move. And I think that is a really beautiful thing. Sometimes lessons cost money. Sometimes lessons make you cry. Sometimes lessons make you laugh. But it's all lessons at the end. And I'm so grateful for that. Although it has been really challenging, I don't regret it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.